Hi, third grade. I would like to talk to you today about using your bow on the violin and the viola, and just some quick reminder tips from our lessons before the break. And I'm going to play through the lesson book with you. So you can press me on pause anytime. And I'm going to start on page 4 in the book. And what I'd like you to do today is, as we go through some of these songs, I'd like you just to press pause and then go through them again on your own, maybe even 3 times on your own. I always think that if you can play through something 3 times in a row and you do a great job on it, then that means that you are really in good shape and you know what you're doing, and you can move on. So just press pause from time to time and work out some stuff, okay? Now, our quick and easy tips for holding the bow for violin and viola. There's my frog. I'm holding my bow in the left hand, by the way. Doesn't matter if you're righty or lefty, remember that. So here I am. I'm holding my bow in my left hand, and the frog, the screw, is pointing towards the right, like towards my wall over here. So 3 steps. Number 1, I'm going to take my thumb. I'm going to put my thumb underneath. Now, there's a wood part between the edge of my frog and where the grip starts. So I'm going to put my thumb underneath. My pinky is going to go on top of the stick. And this big knuckle right here, this giant one in the middle, that's going to drape down over top. And that is my bow hold. And when I turn my bow hold over, it won't move. Now, this is hard to do in my video screen, so I'm going to try to get up. Look at the space. I'm not holding it like a baseball bat. I've got room between. Look at all that room. So here's my trick of the day, and it's not really much of one. Look at my pinky. If the pinky's on top, everything else will kind of fall into place. If your pinky's underneath, that's when you won't be able to do it correctly, and that's when you'll hold it like a big baseball bat. So thumb underneath, pinky on top, drape those 3 fingers. And one last pointer. My fingers here are underneath the frog. They're actually in the air underneath. They're not way up top here on the stick. They're way down. Okay? So press pause and work on that bow stroke if you need help. So remember, thumb, pinky, drape your bow. Okay. Instrument coming from the sky down on my neck, or on my shoulder, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to turn my neck, put my chin down, and I'm going to turn to see the music. So coming from the sky onto my shoulder, the scroll is facing all the way out to the left, putting my chin down. Okay, so look at all that. That's a ton of work right there, just trying to get to that space. So like I said, press pause, take a look at these 2 components so that we can use our bow correctly across the string. Okay, now, between this black fingerboard and the bridge, this space is the bowing area on our instrument. Today, I would like to focus on playing our bow right where the fingerboard meets the open space. So our bow's going to go right here. This is called a bow lane. So when you're going to play your bow across the strings, obviously this makes sense if you look at it, right? That looks pretty good. Look how silly that looks. No one would ever try to play like this, right? But it'd be funny to see when you're playing. Sometimes we kind of have so much stuff to think about that our bow makes all these funny things because we're getting used to the instrument. So when you're playing, just take your time and think about where your bow is playing across the strings, okay? And we want a nice smooth sound. So how do we get a nice smooth sound? Well, that's a good question for everybody forever. Everybody thinks of that. This elbow doesn't really move. So if you've got mom or dad or brother or sister or aunt and uncle or an incredibly talented dog at home, you can have somebody just kind of put their hand there. And I did this to some of you in lessons the other day so you can remember. And what's going to happen is my elbow's not going to move. I'm going to pull my arm out from the elbow And I'm going to keep my elbow straight, and I'm going to push in. So just so, like, if you have mom or dad at home, I'm just going to hold my elbow. Just have mom or dad pinch that, or grandma or grandpa or older brother or sister or somebody, and it'll give you a feeling of what that feels like. All right, that's a lot of talk just to get started on using our bow in number 2. So number 2 is let's play open D. If you are looking at your instrument, if you are a violin player, your D string is the second string from the left side, the second lowest. If you're a viola player, it's the second string from the right side, the second highest. Okay, so get yourself set up, good bow stroke, press pause, take your time. Find yourself the D, get your bow in that good bow lane we talked about, and let's play number 2. Okay, I'm gonna give you 4 beats, 1, 2, ready, go, and then we'll play. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. 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 Press pause, do it a couple of times. Okay, so hopefully you're back from practicing a couple of times, and now we're moving over to our A string. So take a look. Violas, this is an easy one. It's all the way to the right side. If you are a violin, it's right next to your D string, the second string from the right side, okay? So that's the A string. Okay, I'm putting my instrument on the top, my chin on the chin rest, 1, 2, 3 parts for my bow, and I'm gonna play Let's Read A. Or it says Let's Play Open A. Number 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. 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 Press pause, do it a couple of times. Okay, here we are, number 4, two's a team. In this one, elbow is not moving. All I'm doing with my arm now is I'm moving it up and down. Well, it was down first, then up. Down for the A string, up for the D string, okay? Not a whole lot of weird herky-jerky movements, just a little bit of it at a time. Okay, let's try number 4, two's a team. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. 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 Okay, number 5, a little bit more. Oh, don't forget, press pause and do that one a couple of times. Number 5, there's not a lot of rest, so this one's difficult here, so go nice and slow, which is a good practice tip, by the way. As you're doing it, only go as fast as you can play it the right way. If you can't go the right way, you may be going too fast and you need to slow it down. We want you to get it right, okay? Okay, so let's try number 5. 1, 2, 3, and go. Rest. 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 Okay, that one's worth doing a couple of times and maybe a little slower than I did. We go to page 5. Now we're going to introduce our clef and our double bars and our repeat signs, which we've talked about before. Number 6, 7, there are no repeat signs, so we just do it the one time and then stop. Somebody mentioned this to me last week. Look at number 4 on page 4, two's a team. And look at number 5, jumping jacks. It's the same thing. It's just that they added the clefs and everything so you could see what it looks like. So I'm going to skip that for now. And really, you can too if you've done a good job on number 4. Number 7, I'm going to go kind of slow on this one. Mix them up. D string to the A string right away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 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 That one might be worth a 4th time if you're struggling. Remember, when I say practice it like 3 times and then move on, that's if you're doing it like if you can do it really well 3 times. Sometimes it takes a couple of more times than that. Don't get frustrated. Just go slow, take your time, think about what's going on. If you have to wait a minute between notes because you're just thinking about things, that's okay. I just want you to really be thinking about making the notes correct. When you practice these things, you may not be able to do all of these in a practice session because you're working really hard on 1 or 2 of them. And that's okay too. That's a part of this plan. So go nice and slow and steady. Take a deep breath and make sure when you're doing these that you're thinking about just playing the right way. I promise if we do that, it will come really fast and we will have a really great time. I don't want anybody frustrated. Okay, our first repeat sign shows up, number 8. At the very end, how do I know it's a repeat sign besides the fact that the book tells me? I've got the 2 dots. The 2 dots at the very end next to the double bar take us all the way back to the beginning of the line. Okay, let's try it. There's a lot of rests here, so count. Maybe that's why they call it count carefully. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Repeat. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest, rest. Okay, every time we get to an essential elements quiz this year, I'm going to not give you the example of it. The whole idea is that you can do this with everything I've taught you before. You can do this on your own when you practice. So there's nothing in here that you don't already know. You just have to work on being on the right string at the right time. Don't worry in the counting. Leave that alone. We're going to start talking about that again in our next lesson. Today we're just working on our bow strokes. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with 3 thoughts. Number 1, playing the violin and the viola is hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and everybody would have a good time playing all the music in the world. Well, we know that that's not the case. It's a hard thing to do. So take a deep breath and relax, and just remember that if we go slow and steady, we'll get better every week. Number 2, how is your posture on your body with your instrument? Is it sticking out to the side, or are you kind of lazily playing it in front of you, out to the side? And on top of your shoulder, right? And number 3, that really great 3-point bow hold. If you can do all of those, you will be a superstar in no time. Happy practicing this week, and I'm really excited to see you guys back in person next week.